Hi everyone, I'm Brune Smith and this is my podcast. Hi everybody, welcome back to the podcast. How are you? I am recording this episode from my house in Brussels. It snowed all day and it reminded me of the 5 years I spent in Canada from 2017 to 2022. I know some of you listeners are in Canada. Hello. For a while today, I could pretend I was back there again. It was so lovely. Today, I want to give you a great resource for good news. Traditional news outlets are very stingy when it comes to good news because good news don't sell. Bad, awful news sell a lot. And the result is that we are inundated with depressing news on the daily, and it makes it hard to be hopeful. And to use a very markety sentence, it doesn't have to be that way. Here's the thing, there are so many fantastic things happening the world over, but it does take a bit of effort and intentionality to find those pieces of news, those bits of juicy information. But they're out there. And so there's this wonderful site I want to mention to you today called futurecrunch.com that does the job of looking for those great pieces of news and deliver them straight to your inbox. I'll put the link in the show notes. You can subscribe to their newsletter and get good news gleaned from the internet every other week. So it's not too much, it's not too little. I like that fortnight rhythm. For example, here are three of the many bits of good news you could read in their last newsletter. Okay. 1. America is experiencing a sustained, consistent, decades-long decline in violent crime, but most of its citizens believe crime has never been worse. Jeff Asher has an answer for why Americans are so bad at perceiving crime trends. And so if you click on the name Jeff Asher, you have access to that other website, just the source with a full article if you're interested. Number 2, one of our favorite data points is that deforestation is dropping in key regions of the world. Emissions from deforestation and degradation declined by 56% and 87% respectively in Indonesia between 2015 and 2022, and by 7% and 19% in the Congo Basin in 2022 compared to 2021. Number 3, for over a decade, Ana Maria and David Borbona have led the community restoration of the mangroves of Baja California Sur, Mexico, planting an estimated 1.2 million seedlings and transforming vast stretches of barren sand to green. Quote, we are not talking about sustainability, we are talking about regeneration. And it's worth fighting for, whatever is required, because it's necessary, end quote. And so there, every time, for each piece of news, they give you the link to the source of the information, which is usually a full-length article from another website. And so in that example, the last piece of news was from a website called Hakai. So I clicked on there and discovered it's called Hakai Magazine, and it's about coastal science and societies, which I love. My last year in Canada, I was living on Vancouver Island, and I got nerdy about sea otters and whales and kelp. I love that stuff. So you can go into virtuous, glorious rabbit holes that just might uplift your mood. But if you don't want to subscribe to the newsletter because maybe you already have a ton of emails to read, you can just bookmark their website and check it out once in a while. Again, it's futurecrunch.com. They are not sponsoring this episode or this podcast. I just love them so much. Their newsletter is entirely free. If you go to their website, we are currently in January 2024. And on their website, there's this fantastic article titled 66 Good News Stories You Didn't Hear About in 2023. And the subtitle is A Lot of Things Went Right This Year. Almost none of them made the news. They actually do this selection of 66 good news stories at the end of every year, and I love it so much. And if you click on that, you have those 66 amazing stories divided into 4 categories: global health, clean energy, economic and social justice, and conservation. They even have amazing pictures alongside some of the pieces of news. And to further entice you to check it out or to subscribe to their newsletter, I'm going to read you their introduction to those 66 pieces of great news from 2023, and I'll put the link in the show notes also directly to that page. Okay, quote, "The news is supposed to tell us what's happening in the world. It doesn't. It tells us what's going wrong. Thanks to a combination of commercial pressures, cognitive biases, and cultural habits, news organizations have become modern-day doom machines, showcasing the worst of humanity without highlighting any progress, healing, or restoration. Yes, journalism is supposed to hold truth to power, and when terrible things happen, we shouldn't turn away. But when we only hear stories of doom, we fail to see the stories of possibility. We deny ourselves the opportunity to do better." The American journalist Krista Tippett, who I love by the way, says that we're all fluent enough by now in the language of catastrophe and dysfunction, and what's needed are more of what she calls generative narratives. I'll have to talk about that episode of On Being with Krista Tippett, where she talked about that. This year, we found over 2,000 of those kinds of stories and shared them with tens of thousands of readers in a weekly email. Not dog on a surfboard, baby survives a tornado stories, but genuine, world-changing stuff about how millions of lives are improving, about human rights victories, diseases being eliminated, falling emissions, how vast swaths of our planet are being protected, and how entire species have been saved. We rounded up 400 of our favorites and then crammed all of those again into this final list of 66. We think many of them will surprise you, and a few might just change the way you think about the world. It's been a difficult year, but in so many ways and in so many places, we've made progress too. End quote. And so to round up this episode, I'm going to tell you their news number 66 at the end of that wonderful, wonderful list, because it sounds like a poem. Number 66, endangered species that are recovering. All right, here's the list. African lion, African elephant, American alligator, American bison, Asiatic lion, Atlantic puffin, Azores bullfinch, bald eagle, Bali myna, black rhino, black-footed ferret, black-veined moth, blue whale. Actually, it sounds like slam, more so than poetry. Bornean orangutan, Chinese sturgeon, Darwin's flycatcher, East Pacific green sea turtle, Eastern barred bandicoot, Eurasian brown bear, Eurasian beaver, Eurasian wolf, Fender's blue butterfly, Galapagos giant tortoise, golden eagle, golden lion tamarin, greater bilby, Hargula stork, humpback whale, Iberian lynx, jaguar, Kempfer's woodpecker, Kipunji monkey, large heath butterfly, Mexican wolf, monarch butterfly, mountain gorilla, olive ridley sea turtle, peregrine falcon, Polynesian tree snail, red squirrel, saiga antelope, bear with me, Sima ringed seal, sea otter, yes, Siamese crocodile, snow leopard, sooty albatross, southern right whale, stocky galaxias fish, Takahe, three-banded armadillo, Tibetan antelope, Tibetan red deer, Tibetan white-lipped deer, tiger, white rhino, wood stork, whooper swans, Yunnan golden hair monkey, and zebra shark. I felt it was important to name all of those wonderful creatures of this world. All right, my friends, if you liked this episode, please send it to a friend and don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're listening. Thank you so much and never stop looking for good news. Bye for now.